Investigating the unredacted Epstein Files. Nah, Tommy
Jeffrey
G.
Epstein is perhaps the greatest intelligence asset of all time, connected
Huh?
to everything from child trafficking, arms deals, and the world's most successful blackmail operation implicating the global elites. And after months of U.S. leaders like Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel denying the files even existed, the Department of Justice dropped over 3 million supposedly unredacted Epstein files. Today, we head to Washington, D.C. to speak with politicians that have seen the raw documents. And we asked them what they've uncovered, how deep does Epstein's operation go, and who are the co-conspirators that we should be investigating further. We also tackle questions of Epstein's substantial connections to Israel, as well as darker conspiracies surrounding an elite satanic cabal. We will also be joined by journalists who have done extensive research on Epstein to plug in the gaps that our politicians may have not had the time to cover or, due to foreign pressure, do not wish to discuss. Let's dive in.
Nah.
We're just outside the White House. There's chaos around here. There's lots of news reporters, protesters. Our greatest ally, Benjamin Netanyahu, just got to town. And right now, the American public is finding out some of the contents of the unredacted Epstein files. And what we're learning is making us sick that some of the most powerful, influential men on the planet and in our country are involved. And they're hiding, they're trying to cover it up, they're trying to act like it's not a big deal. I mean, we have our FBI director lying under oath. We have Pam Bondi saying that there's nothing to be seen here. Howard Lutnick, our Treasury Secretary, says only went to his next door neighbor's house once and never again, but then we see him bringing his kids to an island of a file in Africa. So we're going to be speaking to senators and representatives that have seen the unredacted files and are leading the fight to release them so that we, the public, we, the people, know what is going on with our country. We're a few minutes from the Congressional Building, where we'll be having our first meeting.
How about Tommy G in the suit with it? Tommy G suit.
Hello, hello. You just got back from the DOJ. Did you get your hands on unredacted files?
Some, yes. Some files I was looking for today weren't in the database.
Nancy Mace is one of the few Republicans that is using her voice to demand the Epstein files be released.
My heart and my pain is with the Epstein victims, and is with every single man, woman, and child who's ever been abused and never gets justice.
And some of the files I looked at were still redacted. So that's a problem, and the excuse that the DOJ gives you is that this is the way the data was provided to them, so it's not their fault. The most important document is a co-conspirator document on investigations into co-conspirators that is still fully redacted. And I want the co-conspirator information. I want to know who was investigated and not charged. I want to know why there were so many plea deals and so many immunity deals only to put one person in jail. This doesn't make sense to me. How do you have thousands of victims and one accomplice?
What does that make you think if you were going there as a congresswoman to the DOJ and it's still redacted?
But this is going to go down as one of the greatest conspiracies, or one of the greatest cover-ups, one of the greatest cover-ups in American history.
And who is responsible for the cover-up?
A lot of people. We're talking about multiple administrations, multiple DOJs, multiple FBIs. This goes back to the Bush era. These are prosecutors, these are solicitors, these are law enforcement agents that are basically letting these guys walk free because they have a title or a tiara or a B by their name for a billionaire, or maybe they're rich and famous. You know, I saw lots of names in there, and I'm going to be sending a long list of names to the Oversight Committee asking them to come testify. And I'm not saying those people are criminals. I'm not saying they did anything. I'm just saying I think they have information that would be very valuable to the victims and the American people.
Yeah, well, give me the answers. Coach, I haven't really, I don't really know nobody that's in here for I didn't look.
We are on our way to the Department of Justice. We're going to be interviewing a congressman fresh after he sees the redacted files. So I think it's important to get your news from unbiased sources. And that's why the sponsor of today's episode is Straight Arrow News. So if you want to get educated on a variety of topics,
give me all my ads. I don't want no ads, bro.
Let's go find out what's in these files. So we're here in front of the Department of Cover-Ups, one of the Department of Justice buildings. And we're waiting for our congressman to come out and talk about what he's learned. Good to see you, man. How are you? Ro Khanna, alongside Thomas Massie, is the man spearheading the bipartisan push to have the files released. We catch him as he's exiting the DOJ fresh from seeing unredacted documents. Here's what he found out. Tell us about what you saw in there with the access you got.
California.
It's the second time I was there. You know, it's a small cubicle. There are about 4 computers, and you sit in there, you type in the Bates numbers, and then you see the documents. Some of them you get to see the unredacted version. The problem is, a lot of the documents you see, they still have the redactions. And, you know, the question is really, who are they protecting? Why are they covering up some of these men, and why were these files scrubbed in March at the FBI?
Senator Durbin claims his office was told that the FBI was pressured to scrub through volumes of Epstein-related documents and to, quote, flag any mentions of President Trump.
Right now, guys, I think we're in an extreme moral predicament in this country, and I don't care. We need to forget Democrat, Republican, and realize that this is actually something that can unite us, the people back home. I think we all have very common things that we want. We want our government not to be having sex with children and covering up for the people that are. We want affordable housing. We want health care that works for us. We want politicians that tell us the truth. We're here for an interview with Senator Rubin. Yes, sir.
Rubin.
Just this week, we've had unredacted drops start coming out. Did you get the impression that
Arizona
guys like Mike Johnson were
there you
trying
go.
to
Most of these are
that as much
definitely
as possible?
Yeah.
This is Ruben Gallego, a former Marine and current Arizona senator.
It was
He's
nice
one of the
knowing
key
him.
Figures from the Senate pushing for the release of the documents, and here is his take on what's unfolding.
We'll give credit where credit is due, right? When the vote actually happened, the Republicans voted for it. But they did everything possible to avoid the vote altogether. And I got into it with Little Mike in his office because, you know, he was holding up a woman who was a friend of mine who won her congressional seat and held her up for more than 40-something days because if she would have gotten sworn in, then she would have signed the discharge petition, which would have forced the vote, right? So he absolutely was covering up for the
What do you think Speaker Mike Johnson's motivation was for delaying the files?
Because he does not want to get sides with the president. The president knows that there's a lot of dirty shit about him and his friends and all his rich, powerful friends in there. And the best thing he could do is just to avoid it altogether and avoid having the vote. So he would just rather do that than actually deal with the reality that the president, you know, at least knew about the was happening at Epstein Island and other places, and a lot of the rich friends that we're now discovering that were also, you know, with Epstein. And those rich friends, by the way, aren't just Democrats and aren't just Republicans. They're like, you know, people that, you know, are very powerful and friends with all sides, but they need to be exposed too.
We get taxed too damn much to not.
Man, take all the names out that bit. Fuck it, need to drop that. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, what we talking about, bro?
The laws up here, they're on their own fancy insurance. If you get elected, your job is to serve your country and serve your people to the highest degree. And right now we have all of these people in office that are just unanimously doing what most of us don't want. And I think we have to put our foot down a little bit. I think people have to go to prison. I think there needs to be a heavy wave of public accountability because I don't know about you, but I don't even recognize the country I'm living in anymore. I believe America is a great place, but it will be much, much better when we get people that actually care about the people in office.
Yeah.
Do you want merch?
No, buy my merch instead. Actually, that's good transition. Guys, we have anti-government t-shirts.
But I also feel,
like
that, like, I don't know. I feel like even if we take out C terms, you definitely need C terms. At least I would say every like 2 years. The same way how there's a new president or president election every 4 years, and the president only can be there for 8 years. It should be some shit like that for every legal, like, it should, all branches of government should be like that. There should be no I can be there for the rest of my life, and that's not how that works, bro. Cause then that's how you become complacent. That's how you become like, nah, bro.
they look like this. These are badass shirts that help you take a stand against what is happening.
Like, I feel there should be an election every 2 years for 4 seats for every branch of government. Every 2 years.
Howdy. Hello. How are you? Good. Tommy. Yeah. This is Eric Swalwell. He's a representative and currently the front runner in the California governor race to take over as Gavin Newsom runs for president. Eric has questioned both Kash Patel and Pam Bondi under oath, and here's what he had to say about that experience. The Epstein Files.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
2 years, right? And the same way how there's an 8-year term for a president, it'd be the same thing for like whatever, like it's the same shit. 8 years. Your max to how long you can be doing this is 8 years. It's just not a fucking I can do this till I'm fucking 80, or even a fucking age cap at that point. If the freaking, are you supposed to retire when you're this age? I bet. Whenever y'all decide to go be senators, all right, you get that. You got to that age where you supposed to retire, where you gotta like give up your seat, bro.
I saw you question Kash Patel under oath.
Yeah.
What was that like? What'd you learn?
I mean, world-class bullshitter, 24-karat liar to Congress. And that's what I started Bondi with today, which is I asked Kash, I said, how many times was Trump's name in the files?
It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times. Which
It's not.
leads me-
It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number, but it's not that.
Do you think it might be your job to know the number?
My job is
It
to
is your
provide
job
for
to know the
safety
number.
and security of this country.
And it turns out
That's no. The FBI FBI investigation. That's literally what it is. Look what it's called. You investigate. So you should know, and you do know.
started at like 38,000, right?
Folks, what's said about President Trump in this latest file release is concerning. Representative Ted Lieu said that the files contain allegations of
Donald Trump children. Donald Trump threatening to children.
However, Trump has interpreted the release of these files much differently, and when asked about it, he said 3 times within 20 seconds,
I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated, and I've been totally exonerated,
Needless to say, it will be interesting to see whether U.S. presidents mentioned in the files like Clinton and Trump will ever have to submit to further investigation.
I didn't start high enough, and so I just wanted the Attorney General today to understand the reason so many of the survivors were present and pissed is because the last time someone from the Department of Justice came, they were lied to.
It's crazy.
A
Wait,
lot
what
of
hockey team?
Americans are suspecting that our FBI director lied under oath.
He absolutely lied under oath, and that the punishment for lying is what they are trying to do against all of their enemies. And I'm just saying, just tell us the truth right now.
Do you think it's possible that the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, lied under oath?
I think it's possible.
And what is the punishment for lying under oath?
Well, it's a crime. So,
I didn't want to go metal. Yeah,
punishable
I forgot.
with prison time. To say that there's no evidence in those files is just a flat-out lie.
The reason they know they can lie under oath is because they are anticipating this president give them a pardon.
Yes.
I guess first of all, let's just clear the air. Did you visit the island?
No.
Okay. This is Mark Kelly, a former NASA astronaut and a current senator from Arizona, and he's on the short list of Democratic candidates who may run for president
He
in
looked familiar.
2028. Here's what he had to say about this Epstein drama. A lot of people are coming out in the unredacted files that are still redacted somehow. It appears we have, from the top down, a concerted effort to push this under the rug. Can you describe this from your point of view?
Well, in the unredacted files, right, they unredacted some of the victims' names, so they get thrown out there. The names of co-conspirators, which were supposed to be unredacted, are still redacted. So they couldn't even get this straight. And we now have the ability
The crazy part about it,
DOJ and
crazy part about it is it's supposed to be the opposite. Like it's supposed to be like the victims are supposed to be blurred out, and everybody else is not supposed to be. I don't know how we got from
onto
that
some
point.
kind of computer. They have like 4 terminals for 535 members of Congress.
So they're
You can
making
do that
this on
math.
purposely difficult to do.
I think so.
So then the question people have is, who actually committed the crimes?
You named 6 guys recently.
Right.
That should be investigated further.
Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World. Leslie Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI. And there are more names I found today that I'm going to ask if those redactions were appropriate.
Can you speak to how this current administration seems to be covering things up?
Well, I will tell you, it's under the Trump administration that this information is coming out. Biden didn't do it. Obama didn't do it. Bush didn't do it. So I want to give.
Man, we gotta stop this. We gotta stop this, cause I don't really think that there was investigation, but I don't think it was a heavy investigation that we saying until now. In my opinion, I don't think that there was a heavy, or was it knowledge that when did he
A
I'm
lot of
gonna do
credit
my
to the
own little research
president
right quick.
for
Let me do
signing
that.
this into law.
Would
My-
you put Trump on that list?
No, I would not. I mean, Trump is exonerated in the files. He got rid of Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. I mean, he called law enforcement, he talked to the FBI, he talked to the police. I mean, he was like the only whistleblower back in the early 2000s.
Yo, bro. He passed away in 2019, allegedly. What we talking about? Like what? Like I hate when like people be saying stuff and they be like, yo, bro, probably 2019, bro. No, that's the last, like, that's recently. If anything, it would have been fucking, yo, you know, bro. It literally would have been his first term, if anything, because that's when he passed away, when it should have came out. Cause I remember I was in the military his first term, so yeah, that's when it should have came out.
Yeah, and I think they're keeping
Like,
people
come on,
hidden.
bro. Some of this bullshit,
Remember
bro.
what Kash Patel said a number of years ago that, you know, Donald Trump was only like in there, like, I don't know how many times he said.
He was
It
still
a
being
small number of
investigated
times.
while he was in
Tens
jail.
of thousands of times, you know, mentions.
We just got out of Nancy Mace's office, and she said that, you know, these files have vindicated Trump.
Well, I haven't looked at millions of documents. I don't know how she has.
I believe Donald Trump has a lot of questions to answer about what he knew.
No, bro. I'm dying. That shit, like, yo, she little, bro. Come on, bro.
These girls.
I guess to say that Trump has been forthcoming in this.
You playing damage control? You literally doing damage control.
Well, he signed it into
That you
law. No
weird,
other
bro.
president has done that, so I think we have to give credit where credit is due. The documents that I want to see that aren't redacted, supposedly, allegedly, they weren't redacted by the Southern District of New York. That's not Trump that did that, okay? That is SDNY that submitted documents to the DOJ that were redacted. That they supposedly don't have that information.
There's no story here. That's what him and Vance and the whole, and Bondi and Patel were saying for months until this unredacted.
Do they even know what exonerated
Did
means?
someone email 38,000 times Donald Trump after 2019 when he was president? I don't know. But what I do know is that victims like Virginia Guthrie Roberts vindicated Trump, that exonerated him. All of the victims that I have talked to have exonerated the president. Do I think this has been handled perfectly? Absolutely not. I don't think that's his fault. I think there are people that are giving him bad advice.
Is there anything that you saw today? It could be even little information, but anything that you can give the American people an idea of what's really in the unredacted files.
There are a lot of victims' names. I mean, like a lot of the redactions that you see, it's just victim after victim after victim.
Pam Bondi's
Stop this
DOJ
bullshit,
leaked the
bro.
names of hundreds of victims, but kept perpetrators' names redacted. And when asked if she would be investigating any of the actual criminals, she said this with the Epstein victim standing behind her.
I am deeply sorry for what any victim has been through.
She then tried to sidetrack by talking about how great the economy is.
The Dow right now is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin.
Which is strange because at one point in her career, she was apparently serious about fighting sex trafficking.
Children are enslaved and abused. I knew we needed all hands on deck.
And while she doesn't seem interested in investigating anyone from the list, she does appear to be investigating the search history of every representative looking into the files.
Accusing Attorney General Pam Bondi of spying on their search history within the unredacted Epstein Files.
This is Zach Faust, an independent journalist who spent many hours digging into the Epstein files and documenting the web of suspects involved. Here's what he had to say about his research.
Spoke with some politicians about the Epstein files, but I'm finding it a little underwhelming what they're revealing. For example, I asked them about Israeli connections in the files. They said they didn't see any. What did you see?
Well, I think what anybody can see is the amount of people that are connected to the money, the politics, and the power structure that comes out of Israel, Mossad, things like Ehud Barak, who was known to stay at Epstein's residence in Manhattan, which was given to him, that Manhattan residence, by Les Wexner, who was also the funder of and financier of the Mega Group, which was a group of philanthropic, quote-unquote, Jewish billionaires that include people like the Ron Lauders and others that are in the Cabinet Association and the banking systems, and it all stems out of this country that came to us in the 40s from a declaration to the Rothschilds.
Tell us about Ron Lauder.
He is the heir of the Estee Lauder fortune, big cosmetic brand. And The Estee Lauder fortune allowed him to make a lot of philanthropic moves. For example, he funds many Jewish and also anti-Semitic foundations like anti-Semitism. He is the president of the World Jewish Congress.
I don't know if this is verified, but I see that he's mentioned at least 1,000 times in the file so far.
No.
The name mentioned, yeah, but a lot of times with the numbers, there are duplicates, right? There are duplications. You can find articles dating back to 2010 when he's being mentioned as one of Bibi's closest associates, Bibi Netanyahu's closest associates, the prime minister, having the defense minister in his house, Epstein, 36 times. So Epstein hosted Ehud Barak in his house 36 different times, verified. And Ehud Barak was the defense minister under Bibi Netanyahu.
So to say the following, there is heavy Israeli involvement, there is heavy elite Jewish involvement. Is that anti-Semitic or factual?
It's not anti-Semitic because you could get down
Ron
to
will be
what the
in
word anti-Semitism means and the fact that a Palestinian group would be just as Semitic as someone from Israel. But it's not anti-Semitic to look into the depths of the corruption of the Israeli government and their control over our ideology through things like surveillance, yes, but also just mass media ownership.
Every single representative I questioned about the files, including at least one that has an Israel flag in front of his door, said that there is no known Israel connections. Why do you think they said that?
There's just too much involvement in not just these elites and their religion, but also their money.
Our country is so fried.
What's up, man?
How you doing, brother? Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
This
So
is Julian Andrioni. The organization he works for, Dropsite News, has relentlessly covered the Epstein files and the Israeli ties within. Julian is their Capitol Hill reporter, boots on the ground, pressing our politicians for answers. Here's what we learned from him. To me, I think you and Dropsite News are doing some of the best reporting on the internet right now. You've been covering the Epstein files extensively. If we've talked to representatives and we're not learning anything new that we haven't already seen online.
No? They're
really.
not talking to you about it?
No. Is that your experience as well?
I wouldn't say they're teaching us anything new. My boss over at Dropsite, Ryan Grimm, has been writing.
Who's the man, by the way?
He is the man. He's been writing a lot about it. And that's where we're finding out a lot of new stuff. Obviously, the DOJ has vast majority of the documents still redacted, even for members of Congress who have been invited to go read the unredacted version.
Probably like could.
That's unacceptable pursuant to the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It's illegal, and so they're violating federal law, and I think that people who violate federal law should be prosecuted.
My worry is that a lot of the representatives are going to steer this into a particular bucket. Mostly they're going to make it about Trump or a small group of people, and they're going to miss some of the bigger picture things like the arms dealing, the potential baby sacrifice, the Israeli connections. What should people know about what's really going on in the files?
So I think that your analysis at the beginning there is correct. I think that placing the blame on Trump entirely is convenient for folks who don't want to talk about some of the broader developments regarding intelligence, regarding foreign policy aims. I think that a lot of this was in service of a broader worldview. Folks who think that they can operate a pseudo-state and manipulate intelligence agencies that are supposed to be serving the people of a certain country that duly elect representatives to the halls of Congress, and I think we have the Epstein class and the Davos class sort of manipulating that to serve
I just
their
think
own
it's
foreign policy
crazy,
aims, and,
like the amount
newsflash
of things
that they
people
are
would
not a
do
government,
for money,
so they
bro.
cannot
Like it's
do that.
never ever been that like, yo, bro. That's why like all y'all be miserable, bro.
The theory is that Epstein is not merely a CIA or Mossad operative, but actually a level above.
The kind of global elite as kind of organized around that Davos conference, or this Davos crew out there.
Right.
The CIA, it's more properly understood that CIA works for them. And Jeffrey Epstein was an integral player in that Davos set.
Meaning that Epstein's true purpose transcended the interests of any single one nation. It appears he was an asset used to advance the agendas of a transnational elite, and if this sounds like a conspiracy theory, just look at the files. They contain literal receipts of the Rothschilds hiring Epstein for a $25 million contract. What about Israeli connections in the
We
files?
have covered that.
And how, as you and Dropsite have analyzed these files, are there Israel connections that we should be talking about?
Yes.
I've had DMs calling me hateful and anti-Semitic for connecting Epstein to Israel, but take a look at this. Dropsite News reporting shows that DOJ documents confirm that, quote, security equipment and alarms were installed as well as specialized surveillance equipment. And tell me in the comments if you think I'm crazy for thinking that Israel might have something to do with the Epstein files.
Jeffrey Epstein was extremely close friends in his personal life with former Prime Minister Ehud Barak. He was using that relationship and using his relationships to other governments to manipulate foreign policy aims that he was interested in. He negotiated a back channel between the Israelis and the Russians during the Syrian civil war in order to install a new government in Syria. That was on behalf of Israel.
Regime
Negotiated arms transfers to certain countries like the Côte d'Ivoire, Mongolia, Nigeria, other countries in Africa and in that region of the world. I'm not saying necessarily that he was working for Israel.
And is it possible that he was working with a few different intelligence agencies and that he was kind of a broker to the highest bidder or to the best friend?
Yes,
and
that's
he gave
possible.
information. He was not a strictly Mossad operator.
No.
Let's talk about the Israelis. I think a lot of young people are really interested in the Israeli angle to this. Can you speak more about that?
We just have no information until, that's why we need to go through the classified information in terms of what his connection was to our government's intelligence or foreign government intelligence. But unless you go and actually see those classified documents, there's no way of knowing, and only a president can order someone to do it. And I think that there are unanswered questions, and they should get the truth out there.
A big question a lot of Americans have is conspiracy theories that we thought were so far out. Pizzagate, satanic rituals.
Yeah.
It seems like if you read some of these files that these are possible theories to investigate now. What have you seen directly looking at these files?
Oh, look, I think some of those conspiracy theories are not true. What I can tell you is through the files is that there is clear evidence that Jeffrey Epstein raped underage girls. There's clear evidence that other people were involved in the rape of underage girls. And there's clear evidence that a lot of our nation's elite and global elite showed up to these islands and the ranch knowing that underage girls were being paraded naked or being raped. And you don't have to buy into conspiracy theories, which are not, in my view, true, to believe the fundamental point here, which is that there are 1,200 survivors who were denied justice, were treated as disposable, and the country's elite looked the other way.
Is there anything new that you learned in the last hour or so, even the littlest tidbit that you can break to the American people?
One email is about Epstein was dressing up as Jesus because while he was raping or committing assault on these underage girls. And it's just a level of sadism that is incomprehensible.
I guess in the category of people that are either should be investigated or what they were doing. Is it satanic rituals? Are they sacrificing babies?
I didn't see any of the satanic stuff. The shrimp, the pizza, the grape soda, a lot of those emails, it just wasn't what you thought it was. And some of the emails about a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old was a female, I believe. I couldn't see the attachment. Presumably it was their child, right? They were sending a convicted pedophile a picture of their kid. I don't know why that is. I haven't seen any conspiracy theories.
Yo, bro, I can't even yo, shorty girl. Yo, yo, what are we talking about?
That are true.
Anything
not
more
yet.
that
I'm
can
not saying
say-
it's not there. I'm just saying it's not yet.
Can it be possible? I hope it's not. But at this point, we have to investigate everything. And we also have to investigate whether, legitimately, if Epstein was, killed by the government to cover up for, all these rich men. Because there's a lot of questions, I think, that legitimately we should be asking right now.
After you've seen some of these files, do you think these have possibility?
Yes. You don't talk about jerky and pizza and cheese and soda pop. Like, I've been to a couple multimillionaires' houses, one billionaire's house. They don't eat anything that isn't like organic, pre-prepared by some person who's catering or a chef. They have a waiter walking around. There's people walking around with glasses of things. I was at a party where there was a line of IVs of like multivitamins. People were plugging into themselves. Like, they take health and longevity extremely seriously. They're not eating Domino's.
Folks, as we dig into the files, let's break down the code words used throughout. Innocent-sounding food references have a darker significance. For example, pizza means little girl and pasta means little boy. Another word used frequently is goyim, meaning non-Jew, and Epstein and his network often mock how goyims have to do lower-class things like work to make money or wait in lines, and they express a desire to be in goyim-free gatherings. Now, these revelations are breathing life into the once dismissed Pizzagate
The horse
conspiracy. Is it outrageous
story
to say that there are
insane.
baby sacrifices, satanic rituals being conducted?
It is absolutely outrageous to say, but is it false? I would verge on the side of saying no, it's not false, but it is outrageous to say. It's pretty well documented that there was some sick shit happening.
And you think it should be under investigation whether people were killing children and eating babies?
Yes, but it won't be. Not in my opinion.
I mean, a lot of Americans are afraid that no one is going to get in trouble. That's what it feels like right now.
No one, let me tell you right now, let me be very straight. No one is going to get in trouble. Nobody is going to go to jail. I promise you, nothing's going to happen. And that in their lies is the problem, which is why we need the Epstein victims to be louder than they've ever been before. And we need to just shove it in the faces of people in power in the federal government until they do something and until laws are changed.
The crazy part about like what's being said is your shorty girl, your party is in charge of the government. Like, you know this, right? Like your party runs the government. Literally, they run the government right now. So like the fact of logic, how we look at it, like people need to like, you know, like bruh, like come on, bro, stop this shit, bro.
You said pretty confidently that you think no one will get in trouble. And
I
no
don't think
one will
anybody's
go
going to go to trouble.
Why
I
do
don't
you
think
think
anyone's going to jail because I have no confidence in the justice system. We have a two-tiered system of justice in America. We have one for the rich and powerful. We have one for everybody else. Nobody's going to jail.
It's personal for me because I met these survivors. I get survivors texting me saying, giving me names of people who I should be sending to justice, that they should be investigated. If you really believe in this, you should at least call for Howard Lutnick to step down.
Howard Lutnick, our Commerce Secretary, whose sons are facing allegations of profiting big time off the very tariffs their dad helped create, the guy who just got caught lying about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, and the same man who eventually had to admit he didn't just go to Jeffrey Epstein's island, but he brought his kids there? Yeah, this guy might need some further investigation.
How can you have someone like that be our representative for business to the world?
Do you think anyone else will get charged?
Yeah, I think so eventually.
So you're confident that more people will be brought to justice?
I'm not sure it's going to be anytime soon because, I mean, what this feels like to me is still a cover-up. But at some point, this president is gone. There's a new administration. And we should have an administration that's going to provide some needed accountability for all these women. They deserve justice.
Do you think the American people are going to let this slide?
You're gonna put me on camera answering that. I don't want this used in my deposition. I think there is gonna be a point where the American people reach a break. I think it's the very reason the Second Amendment exists, is to fight against a tyrannical government. Am I wrong?
Bro, I know you gotta head out to a vote. I wanna leave you with this. First of all, the American people are rooting for you, cheering for what you're doing. Very big fan of that. We will not rest until justice is brought to somebody.
Thank you for what you're doing
and
exposing this, and thank you
keep
for
fighting the good fight.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
I think we need to take action in the ballot box. We need to take action with how we fundraise for people. I'm not giving a single vote to anybody that protects the files. I'm not giving a single vote to anyone that funds Israel. There's just these fundamental rifts that if a politician does X, Y, Z, we do not support them and they lose a job. And that's the weapon that we have, is our dollars. I think we maybe should consider not paying taxes, but we do have a voice here, and we have a role to play.
We go to
gotta
jail.
step up and play it, because this is our country that depends on it. Folks, 3 quick things before you go. Number 1, to realize that only 2% of the files are out there right now. So imagine how
there's
angry we are
like
right now.
hell of
Imagine when we
terabytes.
see
That's
the
just
98% of footage, video, files, emails, documents that are so heinous. I mean, if this is what they're showing us, imagine what is really out there. And to think 1999 to 2003 supposedly kept away from us, wonder if that has anything to do with 9/11. We'll have to see. Number 2, I am happy to join in the movement of not paying taxes. I will withhold my first quarter tax payment of this year, and hopefully this movement has momentum so that we can leverage the change we want within our government. And number 3, we dropped an anti-government t-shirt collection on the site, TommyGMcGee.com. Custom art, high quality t-shirts, something that I think encapsulates how we all feel right now about our government. Appreciate you guys. See you next week. Peace.
Love you, Tommy G's, bruh. That's wild, bruh.